Please stand as the color guard presents our nation's colors and the victory bells perform the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. I'd like to begin by keeping with the museum's tradition by recognizing World War II veterans, home front workers, and Holocaust survivors in the audience, either here or joining us virtually. I know we have one today, Mr. Robichaud. So if you are a World War II veteran, home front worker, or Holocaust survivor, please wave your hand and be recognized. Thank you for joining us today. It's an honor to pay tribute to you and your service, not only just today, but every day here at the museum. I'd also like to recognize all other veterans and active duty military in attendance. Please stand or wave if you have ever worn our nation's uniform. I know there's a bunch of you. I'd also like to recognize any of our former or current members of the Board of Trustees in attendance with us today or viewing online. If there are any here today, please wave. If not, let's give a round of applause to those who help us every day. This morning, I know we also have a number of our Patriot Circle and Charter members with us in attendance today. So thank you for also being here and your support every day. And before I turn the microphone over, I'd also like to thank the American Legion Post 377 Band for joining us today and providing this wonderful music. Thank you so much. And of course, the Marines, the headquarters battalion, Mar 4 Res Color Guard that presented our colors today. So thank you to the Marines. At this time, I'd like to turn the program over to Stephen Watson, President and CEO of the National World War II Museum.
Thank you, Pete, and thank you all for joining us on this most important day. So today, of course, we gather to remember those who gave their lives on the battlefield throughout American history. If you've had a chance to visit the museum and watch Beyond All Boundaries, you probably know that in World War II alone, 414,290 American service members and merchant mariners were killed in action. And to this day, still 72,000 are unaccounted for. So the mission to bring them home continues. I think here at the National World War II Museum, we understand the importance of ensuring that their sacrifice was not in vain, and so that future generations will hear their stories and hear about those who fought valiantly to defend the freedom that we enjoy every single day. I just want to share with you a couple of stories today from our exhibits. The first one I want to mention is a story that's actually in our United but Unequal gallery over in the Arsenal of Democracy in the Louisiana Memorial Pavilion. And that's the story of two brothers, Lloyd and Ferdinand Bari. They were two brothers from right here in New Orleans. Private First Class Lloyd Bari was killed in action in New Guinea on July 11th, 1944. After his passing, his commanding officer wrote to Lloyd's mother that Lloyd was held in high regard by all members of the command. He was a splendid soldier and an outstanding character. His loss will be deeply felt by his many friends. 3 months later, Lloyd's younger brother, Ferdinand, was lost at sea when the transport ship on which he served sank off the coast of North Africa. As you can imagine, a devastating loss for their family. No one feels the weight of Memorial Day more than Gold Star family members who've lost a loved one in service to our country. Gold Star families across the nation and throughout history of our country have felt the cost of war more than anyone. Mothers, fathers, wives, husbands, sons, daughters, aunts, uncles, grandparents, and extended family members. One of the oral histories in our collection features Helen Anderson Glass, who was enlisted in the Women's Accepted for Volunteer Emergency Service, the WAVES, during the war, and she's also a Gold Star family member. Helen's father served in World War I and her brother enlisted in the Navy shortly after Pearl Harbor. Helen joined the Waves as soon as she was eligible in June of 1942 and went on to work on engines and oil pumps for the Navy during her wartime service. In November of 1943, after her brother had been missing in action for several months, their family received a notice that he had been killed in action aboard the light cruiser USS Savannah, CL-42. The loss of her brother made Helen even more patriotic. Instead of extending her bereavement leave, which she could have done, she decided to return to service and do her part to help win the war. She was, and I would say as many Gold Star family members are, resilient to the core. We are extremely honored and humbled to be joined today by Carrie Hart. Carrie is the widow of First Sergeant Casey James Hart, and we're fortunate to get to hear her speak a little bit later in the program. On this important day, it's especially meaningful to hear about the experiences of Gold Star families. And Carrie, thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you. In just a moment, I'm going to turn the program over to Teresa Deltet of the Louisiana National Guard Survivor Outreach Services, who support Gold Star families every single day, helping them deal with the loss of their loved one. Survivor Outreach Services demonstrates the military's commitment to provide support and services to active National Guard and Reserve families of the fallen. This program offers a holistic and multi-agency approach to delivering services by providing the access they need at garrisons and communities closest to where the families live. And they also provide individualized support to survivors all across the nation. So please join me in welcoming Teresa to the stage. And thank you.
Well, good morning. You know, Memorial Day is both solemn and it's a celebratory occasion. Recognizes America's treasure of fallen soldiers, as well as to celebrate the sacrifice that they have given us, a sacrifice that we all as Americans are able to feel safe and to live freely in this country. Survivor outreach reflects that dichotomy of both recognizing those who have gone before us and providing resources for those that they have left behind. And it walks alongside of that survivor, that family member, for as long as they would like to feel the presence of that connection with their service, be it Army, Navy, Marine, Guard, Coast Guard, Air Force. Bravery and courage extend beyond those who served. It is representative of all of those survivors that I represent here. They have to continue life. They continue raising families. They continue to celebrate graduations without a mother or a father. Make major decisions in life. And it is important that they never feel that they are forgotten or left behind. Our keynote speaker, Carrie, is a survivor in every sense of the word. She exhibits the bravery and the courage that we associate with our fallen. Carrie is a Gold Star widow, a 2005 graduate of LSU, a mother of a very precocious, bright young daughter named Helen. I've had the privilege of watching her grace in action. She's fought to protect the future of her child and both grieve for her husband and while honoring his life. First Sergeant Casey James Hart, a 24-year veteran of the U.S. Army National Guard who served Operation Iraqi Freedom and during the Operation Inherent Resolve, for which he lost his life. It is her courage, her love for this country, and commitment to his service and duty that I ask you to welcome her warmly with the respect she and all the survivors she represents today is due. Ms. Carrie.
Thank you, Ms. Teresa, and thank you to the museum staff for hosting this wonderful event and for allowing me to share this special moment with all of you today. My name is Carrie Hart. I am the military widow of First Sergeant Casey James Hart. Today, I would like to share with you our story and what Memorial Day means to our family. But before I go into that, I want to talk about the past a little bit and this museum. The World War II Museum has always had a special place in our hearts. Both sides of our family have a history of service and sacrifice through my own grandparents and both of Casey's grandfathers serving in World War II. Though I was very young when my grandparents passed away, I would listen to many stories from my dad about their service in the U.S. Army and the Marine Corps. It was just a couple years ago that Casey first took me to this museum, where we would spend 5 hours touring the galleries and admiring the history and exhibits of the war that changed this world and the lives of so many brave men and women. We would have stayed another 5 hours if we were not heading to a Saints game that evening. During our visit, I began to understand what our grandparents had to endure during World War II. Our experience at the museum was deeply personal, very moving and eye-opening, to put it mildly. Casey also has a deep and personal connection to the museum, having served as an Army representative and part of the Honor Guard during the opening ceremonies, and through his paternal grandfather's memorial brick placed outside this museum. One of the best parts of our day here was getting a Coke float at Jerry Nim's soda shop and searching for his grandfather's brick. Casey and I first met in 2006. He had recently returned home from a deployment in Iraq where he served with my cousin Ryan. One afternoon, the LSU girls basketball team was playing, and a few of us were going to watch the game at a local restaurant. Ryan picked me up and said, "Oh, by the way, I have someone that I have been wanting you to meet. He served with me in Iraq." Now, let me tell you, Ryan had shared quite a few videos and emails of these young men that served with him, and there were some very handsome young men in uniform, I must say. But one in particular caught my eye. I never mentioned this to Ryan, but as the pictures continued to come through email, my eyes always drifted to the same soldier. As we got to the restaurant, Ryan introduced me to his friend, and there he was, the tall, dark, and handsome man I had seen in the pictures. The rest is history. When Casey asked me to marry him, I remember thinking, can I do this? Can I be a military wife? Sometimes they leave, and sometimes they don't come back. Do I have what it takes to be married to this soldier who love the military as much as me, and am I willing to make those sacrifices and hold down the home front as he continued to pursue his passion. Less than 2 years later, in 2008, we were married and ready to start our family. Fast forward to 2011, and we welcomed our baby girl. Helen is her name. Oh, how our lives would quickly change. Date nights now consisted of dress up, baby dolls, and dance recitals. She was his princess, and I was his queen, and he made sure that we felt that way every single day. To us, Casey was our hero. He was the fun and silly dad who told terrible dad jokes, the dad who taught his daughter how to ride a bike, the dad who read silly stories at bedtime and mispronounced the words just to hear her infectious giggles. He was the dance dad who loved nothing more than to take his precious princess to dance class and hang out with the other dance dads. Being an indirect fire infantryman, he loved fireworks, and his favorite time of year was 4th of July and New Year's. He put on some of the best fireworks shows in town. He was a loving, supportive, compassionate husband and my best friend. After Talon was born, he once asked me if I thought he should get out of the military. That conversation lasted all of 10 seconds. How could I deny this man a dream he has hoped for all of his life? Casey served in the U.S. Army for 24 years in hopes of serving for 30 or more. He started his military career with HHC, 3rd Battalion, 67th Armor in Fort Hood, Texas in 1997. Casey later transferred to the Louisiana Army National Guard with the 2nd Battalion, 156th Infantry Regiment. During his time of service, he deployed in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, and most recently to Syria in support of Operation Inherent Resolve in 2021. During his 24 years of service with the Louisiana Army National Guard, Casey received the Meritorious Service Medal, Army Achievement Medal, Global War on Terrorism Service Medal, Iraq Campaign Medal with Bronze Service Star, Inherent Resolve Campaign Medal with Bronze Service Star, Louisiana Cross of Merit, Louisiana War Cross, Combat Infantryman Badge, and numerous other federal, state awards and recognitions throughout his career. Not only did Casey serve in the military, but he was also a 14-year veteran of the Baton Rouge Police Department. He lived a life of love, service, sacrifice, and commitment. He lived the most honorable life imaginable, and it was something that I admired him for every single day. Casey was so excited about his latest deployment, Operation Inherent Resolve. 6 months before the deployment, he was in a terrible car accident while on a call with the police department and severely injured his neck. He would not let this stop him from deploying. We went to doctor after doctor, did more physical therapy than we could count, dry needling, anything he could find to heal his neck so he could proceed with this deployment. It would be the first time he would take a new team on deployment, and for many of these guys, it was their first mission. Casey wanted to be with them, show them that he loved and supported them, and would always be by their side. Many of the guys referred to him as the platoon dad and nicknamed him Happy Heart. They shared stories with me of how he positively affected their lives, encouraging them to be role model soldiers, husbands, and fathers too. On May 9th, 2021, while in support of Operation Inherent Resolve, Casey was doing PT and collapsed on a run in the heat of the desert from what we would learn was sudden cardiac arrest. I'll never forget the pit in my stomach when I saw the unknown caller from a hospital in Baghdad, nor will I ever forget the words of Dr. Shirley telling me Casey had suffered from cardiac arrest and was non-responsive. That day just so happened to be Mother's Day. Casey was transferred just a couple of days later to a hospital in Landstuhl, Germany, where we would stay for 2 weeks before transferring to Walter Reed Medical Center, where he succumbed to his illness on June 8th, 2021. During those days after Casey's passing, there are so many things that run through your mind. What will life look like now? Fear, worry, funeral preparations. You don't always know where to start. We would spend the next few weeks in conjunction with our casualty assistance officer planning the details of his funeral. I didn't know anything about planning a traditional funeral, much less a military funeral. But we got it done. It was everything we wanted it to be and more, everything my husband so very much deserved. Experiencing a military funeral is both profound and powerful, yet humbling and intimate at the same time. When you see the honor guard, remember, they are service members too. They have served their country and continue to serve while honoring their fellow service members until the very end. When they played taps at Casey's funeral, I had this overwhelming sense of pride for my husband that was almost incomprehensible. I hope when you hear that song today that it resonates with you as much as it does for me in remembrance of those lives lost in service to our country. Our lives are now forever transformed by Casey's passing as he leaves behind a proud Gold Star spouse to a now 10-year-old daughter. At that point in time, the life you once had and the one you dreamed of becomes a different reality. But the journey of life continues on, even though you feel as if the whole world has stopped. We have been surrounded with love and support from the most amazing people, family and friends, many of whom have joined us here today. Military support groups, such as Survivors Outreach, and even complete strangers who just heard our story. Today is our first Memorial Day without Casey, and our first Memorial Day as a Gold Star family. While our journey forward is relatively new, and we are still figuring things out day by day, Talon and I both take solace in knowing that our special guardian angel above has it all worked out for us. It is because of Casey's continuous strength, encouragement, and love he provided to us in his time here on earth that we are able to continue on our journey of growth while honoring his memory every day of our lives. I proudly wear this Gold Star pin in honor of my late husband, First Sergeant Casey James Hart. This pin honors a life lost in service to our nation and the sacrifices made so that we can have the freedoms we all enjoy today. Today I ask that you remember, respect, honor, and love the fallen heroes of our nation and the sacrifice and strength of all of the Gold Star families who wear these pins in honor of their loved ones. A Gold Star family is not the club we ever wanted to join, but we know and understand the important role we play in Casey's story. Memorial Day is not just one day for us, it is every day. It's the picture on the wall, the folded flag from the funeral, the past memories of anniversaries, holidays, and birthdays, and those same future dates without our loved ones. It's the memory of the general handing your 9-year-old child a folded flag at her dad's funeral and the brave face she put on because that's what her daddy would have wanted. It's the saved voicemails just to hear him say he loves us one more time. But it's also looking in the eyes of your child, who is the spitting image of her dad, and smiling knowing that he is still here with us in so many ways. I tell Talon that her dad would be proud of her, that he would want her to enjoy every day and to choose happy and remember all of the good times we shared. Casey's loss doesn't just affect Talon and I. Though he was a wonderful husband and father, he was also a son to his mother who lost her only child. He was a brother-in-law, a son-in-law, nephew, uncle, cousin, leader, and friend too. Today is about being there for each other, being together, and remembering not only our fallen soldier, but the many families, widows, and dependents of those servicemen and women who have courageously fought for our freedoms and paid the ultimate price. Memorial Day is a day of remembrance, solemnity, and gratefulness. My husband always said, the greatest fear of soldiers is to be forgotten. Instead of thanking a veteran today, ask them about their fellow soldiers who didn't return home. Thank a Gold Star spouse, children, and their families. Acknowledge their loss, no matter how many years it's been. Ask about their loved ones and the ultimate price they paid. They want to tell you. Teach your children the importance of this day. These heroes would want you to live the kind of life they have missed, the kind of life they fought so very hard for you all to have, the kind of life they will not experience again. Gold Star families carry this loss every day, but we learn to live with it and we find a way to thrive in spite of it. Always remember our fallen heroes. Honor them, love them, and be the light that helps their family thrive again. If you've never visited a national military cemetery, I encourage you to do so. It is truly an honor every time you walk through those gates. It is absolutely breathtaking. These white grave markers are the monuments of those soldiers who are the true warriors and heroes. Spend some time with them. Thank them and remember their sacrifices. Then go home, enjoy your barbecue and your family time, remembering it is because of the American soldier that we are able to celebrate these freedoms. When asked if I would speak today, I was a little hesitant. I wasn't sure if I could do this as our loss is very raw. Then I remembered something Casey shared with me on Memorial Day about 4 to 5 years ago. It was a 3-page email about what Memorial Day means to him. Although he did not write the article, and credit should be given to the author, Jocko Willink, this was something that truly resonated with him enough to share it with me. I'd like to share a few excerpts of that article with you all today. It is titled, "The Fallen Soldier." I am the fallen soldier, sailor, airman, and Marine. Remember me. I am the one that held the line. Sometimes I volunteered, sometimes I went because I was told to go. But when the nation called, I answered. In order to serve, I left behind the family, friends, and freedom that so many take for granted. We had a job to do. It was me who patrolled up the mountains or across the desert or through the streets. It was me that suffered in the merciless heat and the bitter cold while the rest of the world celebrated their holidays. It was me who went out night after night to confront our nation's enemies and confront evil face to face. Remember me, I was a warrior. But also remember, I was a son, a brother, a father. I was a daughter, a sister, a mother. I was a person like you, a real person with hopes and dreams for the future. I wanted to have children. I wanted to watch my children grow up. I wanted to see my son score a touchdown or shoot the winning basket. I wanted to walk my daughter down the aisle. I wanted to kiss my wife again. I wanted to grow old with her and be there to hold her hand when life grew hard. When I told her I would be with her until the end, I meant it. When I told my children I would always be there for them, I meant it. But I gave all that away. You have the joys of life, the joys that I gave up so you can relish in them. A cool wind in the air, the warm summer sun on your face, family, friends, and freedom. Never forget where it all came from. It came from the supreme sacrifice. Don't waste it. Live a life that honors the sacrifice of our fallen heroes. Remember them always and make every day Memorial Day. At this time, I would like to ask my daughter Helen to join me on stage. She has a few words she would like to share with you all about her dad and what Memorial Day means to her.
When I was a kid, Memorial Day was just a day where you remember the veterans who died in war and the official start of summer break. Now it means something so much more than that to me. It means to remember all fallen soldiers and honor their sacrifice on that day of the year. I didn't think that my dad would ever be one of the fallen soldiers we would remember and honor today. We both shared a love for running and often enjoyed afternoon runs, swimming, and bike rides. My dad and I played so many fun games together. We played a game where he rolled me up in a blanket like a burrito, pretended like he was adding all of the toppings, and then unfairly tickled me because I couldn't get out of the burrito roll. The best game we ever played was I Love You As Big As. We would start small and eventually end with I love you bigger than the universe. In fact, one of the last gifts my dad gave me was a locket with his picture and inscribed on the back with, love you to the universe and back. Love, Dad. My dad always knew just what to say to cheer me up. When I was sad, I was always happy around him. These are things I will remember on Memorial Day and every day, the fun memories we shared and the sacrifice he made.
For all of those who have paid the ultimate price, we miss you, we remember you, and you will always remain forever in our hearts. Thank you very much for having us here today and allowing us to share our story. It has truly been an honor to spend this time in remembrance with all of you this morning. Thank you.
That is what Memorial Day is all about. Thank you for sharing a small bit of Casey's life with us and telling us, showing us the significance of his service and sacrifice and of your service and sacrifice. On Memorial Day, we do not only remember those who lost their lives in combat, but those who were never found, whose families never received closure. There are nearly 80,000 still missing from World War II alone. I would now like to draw your attention to the table to the left of the stage as the Pontchartrain Cadet Squadron of the Civil Air Patrol conducts a missing man table ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to present to you a table set for our prisoners of war and those missing in action from all wars. Tray, please. The setting you are about to see before you is filled with much symbolism. Please let me explain. It is to remember the prisoners of war and those missing in action from all branches of service that are not too often forgotten. Let us remember them. The empty chair depicts an unknown face, representing no specific soldier, sailor, airman, or Marine, but all who are not here with us. The chair cover, please. Let us remember them. The table is round to show that our concern for them is never ending. Let us remember them. The tablecloth. The tablecloth is white, symbolizing the purity of their intentions to respond to their country's call to arms so that their children could remain free. Remember them. The Bible. The Bible represents faith in a higher power and the pledge to our country, founded as one nation under God. Remember them. The place setting. The place setting for one, the one who is away from all who cherish them. Remember them. The slice of lemon. A slice of lemon is on the bread plate to remind us of their bitter fate if we do not bring them home. Remember them. The salt shaker. The salt shaker, symbolic of the family's tears as they wait. Remember them. The black napkin. The black napkin stands for the emptiness these warriors have left in the hearts of their families and friends. A Purple Heart medal is attached to remember the wounds they have encountered. Remember them. The wine glass. The wine glass is inverted. They cannot toast with us tonight, maybe tomorrow. Remember them. The candle. The lone candle symbolizes the frailty of a prisoner alone, trying to stand up against his oppressors. The yellow ribbon symbolizes the everlasting hope for a joyous reunion with those yet accounted for. Remember them. The rose. The single rose reminds us of the loved ones and families of our comrades in arms who keep the faith and await their return. Remember them. As we look upon this empty table, do not remember ghosts from the past. Remember our comrades. We will now light the candle. Remember them. Remember those whom we depended on in battle. They depend on us to bring them home. Remember our friends. They are the ones we love, who love life and freedom as we do. They will remember what we do. Please honor and remember them. A moment of silence. As we extinguish this candle, let us transfer its flame to our hearts. Remember them. Please extinguish the candle. Please bow. Thank you for sharing this moment of remembrance, brought to you by the Pontchartrain Cadet Squadron of the Civil Air Patrol.
Thank you, the Civil Air Patrol, for reminding us of the fallen, imprisoned, and missing service members on this significant day. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in standing for the sounding of taps, and please remain standing afterwards for a moment of silence. Please be seated. Well, thank you, Teresa, Carrie, the Pontchartrain Cadet Squadron Civil Air Patrol, American Legion Post 377 Band, the Marine Corps Band from headquarters of Mar Ferez, for all of you helping to celebrate and commemorate this important day. Each day here at the National World War II Museum, it's our mission to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice and remember the families who continue to endure their great loss. As one of our great friends, Gary Sinise, always says, it's never enough. Again, thank you for joining us for this special commemoration ceremony, virtually or on campus here in New Orleans. Before you leave the Freedom Pavilion, the Boeing Center today, I hope all veterans and active duty service members will visit our Knit Your Bit table to receive a free scarf made by knitters from across the country in gratitude for your service to the country. I would also like to point out that we will have a special show this afternoon from our Victory Bells at 1 o'clock in the Stage Door Canteen. I hope to see everyone there. Thank you for coming today for this most solemn but celebratory day. Take care, and we'll see you again next time here at the National World War II Museum.